Something you don't see every day, the capture of an alligator that was living in a West County neighborhood. The gator was caught in a creek in Wildwood. The 4.5-foot reptile apparently escaped from its enclosure and was living in the creek for 2 weeks. Russell Kinsaw talked to the man who found it.
Right back behind me is the creek where that alligator had been living for the last 2 weeks. It's behind a house in western Wildwood, a little south of Babbler State Park. After Chris Soljak went to all the trouble to catch it, he couldn't find anybody that wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, and your heart's pounding, so you're like, okay, if I make the wrong move, I'm going to lose a hand.
On Sunday, Chris Soljak heard something splash into the creek behind his house.
As I turned, I just happened to see a tail go into the water, and it looked exactly like a alligator tail.
It took 15 minutes before the thing that made the splash got close enough to the surface to make out what it was. An alligator. Wherever it came from, he worried about the risk it posed.
That was my biggest concern is if he keeps going downstream. We got a lot of kids in this subdivision. I didn't want anybody to get hurt.
It took 3 hours, but he and his future son-in-law got it out by using a dog leash on the end of a pole and getting it around the animal's neck.
He was hissing, and as you can hear in the video, we were shooting video the whole time. He was pretty upset. He had his mouth open, hissing pretty loud.
The alligator weighed about 50 pounds and measured 54 inches long. The next step was getting rid of it, but that wasn't so easy.
We called everybody from Animal Control, Missouri Conservation, 911. We just kept calling agencies, and they were just stunned.
Nobody wanted to come get it till he contacted the Bi-State Wildlife Hotline. A representative came out and retrieved the gator, told them it was a girl and looked pretty well fed. At that point, Soljak remembered he hadn't heard any frogs in the creek lately.
He found a little honey hole here.
Has been eating the bullfrogs.
Yep, he ate them all because there's none in there.
Turns out it is legal to have a pet alligator in Missouri, but once they get 8 feet long, the owner is required to notify the local police department about owning a potentially deadly animal. Soljak is a little jumpy about what might turn up next.
Just makes you wonder what's in these woods.
The rescue group returned that alligator to the owner, who happens to live in the area. Soljak got a message from him saying that the alligator got out of its enclosure and had been out on the run for about 2 weeks. We reached out to the owner, but haven't heard back. In Wildwood, Russell Kinsaw, News 4.
Gator